Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Satan is here!
Yeah! What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super deck profile. Over the past weekend, we actually had another member of the God Squad, Top, and he did pretty well with probably one of the most underrated leaders in the entire game, our Lord and Savior, Hercule Satan.
You're going down!
The fact that this leader is the only leader that has 1,000 power, not 10,000, but 1,000 power, and can be hit by literally every card in the game, makes him seem like he's a bad card, but he's really not. And his front side's actually better than his awakened side. Once per turn, if it's your turn, you can look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, and if there are any battle cards, you can choose to combo with them, and then place the remaining in the drop area. For that particular reason, he runs 0 extra cards in the deck, and I've actually played with the deck myself, and it is ridiculous how consistent this deck is. Now, I probably played it a little more aggressively than he did, but even he has to admit that because Hercule is so weak, this deck is all about just going. You have to. Hercule is too weak to play any endgame. When you're at 4 or less life, draw 2 cards, blah, blah, blah. Stay in delusion, Hercule.
I know all your stupid parlor tricks and I'm not impressed.
The reason that I don't prefer this side over the other side is because he's your finisher. He's your endgame. You never awaken unless you're prepared to just finish the round. And him being at 5,000 power, you're not awakening for any power boost to prevent extra damage. It's just not happening. Once per turn, place all cards from your hand in the drop area. You can't activate the ability if you have no cards. This card gains 50,000 power for the duration of the turn. That's right, 50,000. And then if you place 5 or more in the drop area with the skill, he gains triple strike for the duration of the turn. So you activate his ability, you swing, he gains 50,000, so he's 55,000 with triple strike. Then your auto triggers, you draw a card, and hopefully you draw something you can combo with. Since there's no extra cards, you're not going to draw anything with 0 combo power. But if you're tapped out, you could draw something that's a +1 combo that you wouldn't really be able to play. But otherwise, that 55,000 triple strike, if it hits home, you're probably going to win with it 95% of the time. The first card in the deck is probably the most creative use I've ever seen for this card, and it's 4 Human Shield Krillin. Yeah! He's a 1-cost 5,000 blocker, and he literally does nothing else other than that. The reason he's in here is that, A, as a blocker, he can take a hit for your leader, whether you're trying to avoid that crit damage, you don't want to take the double strike, anything like that. But the fact that he's a 1-cost battle card is what makes him playable in this particular deck. In fact, I think I have attacked and comboed with this blocker more times than I've actually used him as a blocker. Granted, he will probably 150% come out for the 1-drop green Gohan we're getting in set 4, but now this is what we're left to work with. Next up, we have Encroaching Terror, Android 19. Yeah! He's a 2-cost 5,000. When he attacks, you draw a card, and he gains 5,000 power, so he attacks for 10,000. This card will probably also come out for the new nail that comes in set 4. Big boy doesn't want to focus. There he goes. Yeah, he'll definitely be coming out for the nail in set 4 that hits for 15 and still draws a card. But right now, this is just in here as another way to gain cards so that you have enough cards to discard for that triple strike at the end of the game. Next up, we have 4 Iron Hammer of Justice, Android 16. Yeah! Mainly, he just gets used as energy, but he is in there as an added attacker, but he's also a blocker with revenge. And so having that on the board, which rarely happens, but having that on the board kind of, it forces your opponent to play a little cautiously, as they can't just drop their biggest dude and just, attempt to swing at you with it, because Android 16 is going to self-destruct and take them both out. Next up, we have 4 Botamo of Universe 6. He's another 1 cost 5,000 blocker. Again, he gets used more often for physical attacks than actually taking hits. Just because you can use Hercule's ability to combo with the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you're going to hit him for at least 15,000 with this card with a max of 25. That card will also be coming out for the 1-drop GT Trunks that does crit damage in set 4. And then we also run 4 Saiyan Kaabas. He's the 1 cost 5,000 that everybody loves. When he attacks, you may choose 1 card from your life and add it to your hand. If you do, he gains 10,000 power and double strike for the duration of the turn. This is also in here to kind of help you awaken a little bit, but also to add really cost-efficient threat potential to your opponent. Probably the most threatening card in the deck, and easily the most difficult to actually get out because you do generate more card advantage than you should in this deck. He runs 4 Miraculous Comeback Ultimate Gohan. He's a 6 cost 25,000 with double strike, and when he KOs a card in an opponent's battle card, you inflict 2 damage to your opponent. The reason he's so good is because you can play him for 2 energy if you have 4 or less cards in your hand. However, again, like I said, you kind of have to combo a little heavy to get down to that. But if you can drop this card on the board, especially if you can do it on like turn 2, that is a ridiculous threat that your opponent probably can't handle that early in the game. Now, because this deck does so much milling with Hercule's ability and then all the cards that you're comboing and that are getting KO'd, like the Kaabas or even the blockers, he runs 4 Time Patrol Trunks. He's 3 cost 15,000, but you're of course going to overwhelm him instead. And when you play him, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and you can place the remaining cards on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. You can also choose not to add any cards to your hand. He actually did this during the tournament. He chose to take both the top and bottom card, or take both the top 2 cards and place them back on top of the deck because he wanted to combo with them with Hercule's ability. So, Time Patrol Trunks has a little bit more utility in this particular deck. He also runs 4 Scientist Fu. This is a really good card in this deck just because you do have so many cards to send to the Warp with the Overwhelm ability. And for 1 energy, it's a 25,000 double striker that draws you 2 cards. There's no reason not to run it. But sometimes the game goes so fast that you're probably only going to get the chance to play 1 of them. Now, because the idea of the Hercule leader is milling cards from the top of your deck for his ability and warping them with the Overwhelm ability of Fu and Time Patrol Trunks, your super combo for the deck is Supreme Kai of Time, World's Protector. Instead of her being reliant on how much life you have, it's reliant on how many cards you have in the warp, and so if you have 5 or more, you get to draw 1 card, and it gains 10,000 power. The reason this is better is because you can guarantee that you'll have 5 in the warp quicker than you can get yourself to 4 life. So, this kind of reduces the amount of dead super combos that you can hit with his ability, which is a really, really good thing, especially since you can get those super combos without losing any card advantage. Next up, we have probably the second best card to combo with in the entire deck, Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku. When you combo with this card, you can draw 1 card. So, essentially, you get the free combo with Hercule's ability, and you draw a card. So, it gives you an extra 4 super combos. And with Hercule's ability, you can play them at any time. So, having 8 cards to give you 10,000 power, and you get to draw a card, is fantastic with this leader. For the more offensive side of this leader, he runs 4 Furthering Destruction Champa. It's a +1. It's a 1 cost plus 10,000 combo card that gives the attacking card double strike. And when you can hit this for free off of Hercule's ability and give anything double strike, that ability is fantastic. It's going to get ridiculously stupid with set 4 once we get the GT 1-drop Trunks and the 1-drop Gohan, both that have crit. So imagine turn 1 getting to attack for double strike crit for 30 to 35,000 power. That's absurdly good and kind of terrifying to think about. Lastly, to add a little bit of utility to the deck, he ran 3 Spectrum Attack of Boonie. This is one of the new cards that came out of the Tournament of Power set. You combo with him and draw 1 card, and then you can place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So it allows you to kind of get cards out of your hand that aren't very helpful. And then you can also draw a card that might be more beneficial. And again, he's another 10,000 combo card that works well with Hercule's ability. The last card in the deck is for both for utility with Hercule's ability and for a little bit of spot removal. He runs 3 Sun Goten Family of Justice. It's a 1-cost 5,000 combo power that allows you to KO a battle card with 3 or less energy during your turn. So if you hit it with Hercule's ability, it's now a free KO and a free 5,000 power to whichever battle card you're using his ability on. Definitely great for KOing those veggies, especially if you hit them early on, and it'll be fantastic against the 1-drop Gohan and the 1-drop Trunks as well. I know we've mentioned them about 4 or 5 times now in this video, but they're going to be stupid good in this deck, and stupid good in pretty much every other deck that anybody builds. Now, I don't know the specifics to his matchups, since I was obviously not the one playing those matchups. I know round 1 he ended up playing against Red Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Round 2 he ended up playing against Blue-Red Crit Vegeta from set 1. And then round 3 he ended up playing against another Red Super Saiyan 3 Goku deck that didn't know how to play against Hercule. And that ended up hurting him in the long run. But if you aren't familiar with Hercule, it is really easy to get caught off guard with this leader. He is just that good. Side deck wise, side deck seems a little gimmicky at first, but it kind of makes sense. And at the time, he didn't really have the best options. He runs 4 Guinea Forest Goldo. This gives him a 1-drop blocker card that he can also either use to sponge hits or to attack with, similar to the way we do with the Krillin and the Botamo. 2 Guinea Forest Raccoon, just kind of as other yellow energy, and also another card that gains a little insurance on your opponent's turn. 2 Ginyu Force Birder gives you a little bit more offensive power, and with his ability to switch back to active at the end of the turn, he can kind of ensure that he's going to be around for a little bit longer. 3 Guinea Force Jayce, this is the best of the 4 cards. He's the 3-cost 10,000 blocker, but when you play him from your hand, you look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, and you can choose a Guinea Force and play it. So all of the other 3 Guinea Force members are a target for him. But the biggest reason to run a yellow package is to give you enough cards that if you're playing against a deck that this deck just cannot handle and can't keep up with, then you have 4 Flying Nimbus to side deck in. Everybody knows what Flying Nimbus does for the most part. It's a 1-cost negate, and then you can place a yellow card in your hand in the drop area, and your opponent can only attack 1 more time with battle cards. So if they screwed up and attacked with their leader first, and then you play Flying Nimbus, then they get 1 more attack. If you think there's a chance they're playing Flying Nimbus, always attack with a battle card first. That way when they play this, then you still get a battle card attack and a leader attack. So essentially, to make this work, you would probably have to side in all 15 cards, and you would side out some of the red or some of the green. It's be similar to smoke screening your side deck, except you're kind of controlling which 15 cards you're taking out. However, the whole side deck is probably going in to be able to cover the cost for the Flying Nimbus and to actually make the Ginyu Force engine work as best as you possibly can. But this is the second time that he's done really well in this with this deck, and honestly, it's a lot more consistent than I expected. Like I said, you're attacking with all those blockers rather than defending with them, which is really funny. I actually played against another one of his decks with this deck, just to see for myself how well it handles, and believe it or not, I killed him I didn't even get to use Hercule's Triple Strike ability. I killed him with the blocker Krillin, which was the funniest shit ever, to be honest. But the deck works consistently well. If you guys enjoyed this deck profile, if you like the deck or you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button as well. You know, we appreciate all the support. We appreciate all of you subscribers as well. We're, I think 720 was the last count that I saw, which is fantastic. And I love all the support you guys have given us and having all the conversations with you guys in the comments on all the DBZ videos. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get the freak out of here now, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Mr. Satan is absolutely amazing! The man never rests! He just keeps on attacking! Look at his speed, his agility! It's a veritable ballet of punches! He's too fast for Cell to even fight back! This is amazing!